Hey everybody, I got a piece of fogwood here. Actually, it was found at the sawmill, so fast wood then instead of found on ground, found at sawmill. Well, it's light, it's got bug holes, it's punky. There are some nice little grain spalting features. Um, the bark is very thin. Again, no clue what it is. So let's see what we can make out of it. It is soft, so light touching and sharp tools. Let's see what we can do. We got some tear out. I was expecting that. But I think when it gets rounded off, it might actually turn all right. All right. A little closer. Sharpen this tool. Use a sharper tool. Let's try this one. Drop down to a 3/8. Or I could make a small little, yeah, I got an idea. We'll just do a little pop. All right, looks like for the sanding we're going to have to go down to an OT 120. We'll use a 120 gouge. How's that sound? Okay, now we've got it dried off pretty well. So I'm going to start out and we're going to throw some sanding sealer on it. I'm going to use the brush first because there's so many holes, and then I'll spin it to get excess out of the holes. And it is soaking up this sealer. All right. I'm going to block the camera and spin it to get some of this excess out. Alright, now we've got just time to wait now. Gotta let this one dry. We'll move on. About there in the middle. A little bit more to go. Let's go down a little bit more with the regular gouge, and then we'll pull it back out for hollowing. Alright, I'm going to hold off there and just get to some sanding. We've got a lot of punkiness in there, a lot of tear out, but we're going to have to use the either the 80 grit gouge or the 120 grit gouge. We'll see. We'll slow it down and get it going. Time for some sanding sealer. I already had some sanding sealer I put on the outside. However, I took 320, I went up to 320 grit for the inside, and I went back over a little bit of the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and put another coat on the outside and start on the end, especially around this bead. Alright, we gotta let this dry because it's soaking it up so much. It's a soft wood, whatever the found at sawmill, the fast wood is. It's going to take a while to dry. So we'll have to come back to it, give it a light sanding, and see if I need to have more sanding sealer. But we shall see, and we'll be back. Good day, friends. We are back to our little pot here. It's been it's had 2 coats, maybe 3 of sanding sealer, and the final thing of sanding sealer I sanded to 600 grit, so it's like really smooth. We got a bunch of bug holes in it. I've blown them all out the best I could, and the inside's nice and smooth, especially the rim area. Let me turn this other light on. So now we're going to throw some poly on it and see how we can get it to shine. This wood is really white and light, so I'm thinking it might be a type of pine or fir. But then again, don't quote me because I really don't know. I'm not an arborist. I stayed at a Motel 6 one time, but that doesn't help me with my wood stuff. So because there's so many bug holes, I'm going to use a brush so I can try to get down into them the best I can. Get the first coat nice and light, so maybe I can get another coat on it later today, because tomorrow on the 11th of March I have my second ever craft fair / show. So I'm hoping I can have this done for it, because it's small. It's probably going to be like a $15 piece maybe. I didn't put a lot of detail work in it, and maybe 20, I don't know yet. I might start it at 20. I do have a crack in it. Granted, it's sealed and it's not going anywhere, but still it's a crack. I might start it at 20 and then maybe drop it down to 15 if I need to. But I don't know. I like it. It's just going to be a decorative piece. You might be able to put some change or something in it later on. If you ever, like, if this was yours, I would probably use it for changing keys and stuff. Alright. I'll get this top part done around the rim, and then I'll spin it to clean out any excess that may have gotten down in the bug holes that's just sitting and going to create a nasty or bad look in it. Well, it looks like the wood is darkening up with the poly, which I'm not understanding because I did use sanding sealer. And I coated it really well with sanding sealer because it was so punky and so soft. So I'm not sure how. Well, sanding sealer may not, definitely not a, it's a sealer, but I don't think it's a full, like a polyurethane seal, so it's probably just going through. But it's starting to darken in some areas, and yeah, it's starting to look pretty darn good. So before I go to the inside and spin it, I'm going to cover up the camera a little bit. I only do that because I found when I was turning some wet woods a while back, I got the lens pretty dirty. This is going to need 2 coats of poly on the outside. Alright, let me get the inside done. You really can't see too much of that, so I'll bring you back when we're all finished. Conserve some time on this thing so you all watch it. Talk to you all a little bit and show you the finished product.